Last time on Crash Bandicoot, a huge adventure. We
For
defeated the
some reason.
nefarious Dingodile and are now in Engine's territory. What fresh dangers await our hero Crash?
Wait a second. The next world is based on the same type of, like, the same kind of environment that last boss had. The next world starts with.
Well, not really. If you look back, I chose like level 4 out of the 5 set.
Oh well, that's because that was so interesting and nope,
You were going to
not
be
true.
like, oh, thematics one level to leading to another, as you tend to do. But actually, this is just me loving. This is just me liking the water levels, and honestly, I should be saving them for last because less stress in the end. But whatever. I mean, look at that. Look at
Right.
that beautiful only 26 boxes number up there. It's great.
Yeah, unless you're being sarcastic.
No, as in it's actually great because just they usually the water levels, other than being straightforward, just don't have a lot of boxes in them, meaning there's less opportunities to screw up getting the gem. And so that's just 26, and some of them are nitro boxes. So
Oh yes. Well, I mean, I guess water levels. Oh
yeah,
wow.
we're just 4 more boxes that are probably all in one set, and we're done. Well, there's 2, but the problem is that with all of this in mind, I'm just like, okay, it's time to enjoy this now, because once we get to the later levels, that box tally starts going up into the hundreds, and uh,
Really?
yes,
That seems awful.
it's only slightly less awful than you think it is, because sometimes they put a lot of boxes in one area, but other times it's just the thing is that it's daunting because the box total is basically your indication, or at least your partial indication, of how long the level is and how far you're into the level. Just usually you'll forget about how many nitro boxes by accident until you actually blow them up, but in this case it's really just a matter of, okay, have this amount of boxes left out of this, that means I must be halfway done or at least close because I haven't blown up the nitro boxes yet, and everything. But then you have such problems. Oh, by the way, yeah, I did that on purpose because I missed a box.
Oh, so you just jumped off and said, "Let's go back in."
Yeah. But if you paid any attention to the box total as we went in, you'd see the number is 140 something.
Oh, that's. But a lot of them seem to be in this place.
Well, that's 48 out of it. So, yeah, it's just like sometimes you also have to factor in that the bonus levels sometimes have a huge amount of boxes as part of their challenge. And some levels have a huge amount of nitro crates as part of their challenge. But
That's ridiculous. That the extra lives count as boxes.
yes, the extra lives do count as boxes.
Was that on purpose?
I don't remember. What I do remember is that this level took me forever to record because of certain mishaps that I forget either happened with the recording or because this bonus stage is deceptively hard. Well, okay, not that deceptively hard. It's more like it looks hard. It turns out to be much harder than you initially thought.
I'm checking to see. Okay.
Because here I am
Uh,
trying to do this
This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
exactly, but I have to do that and then go backwards. And some of those were slide jumps. So they're very, what is even happening? Why did I leave this in? Oh, right. Eventually I decided, you know what? Let me just read up for it. Let me just read up for something here. And then it turns out that, well, I think it is this level. It turns out that despite all my efforts, because I don't have a certain gem platform, I'm unable to actually get the box total.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think they made it a bit too hard.
Oh, trust me, this is Crash. This is just how Crash does things. Crash, the original trilogy, just sans Warped, because Warped is a bit more forgiving. It just like had this in spades, but after I had to look this up, or else I would have fervently tried to get every box, only to get to a point where you're just like, what's that? You don't have the colored gem that you wouldn't have gotten until you played a level that's in a tier list after this level? Well, too bad for you.
I mean, this seems like probably the most unforgiving platformer out there.
No, well, the most unforgiving platformer that could still be classified as an okay platformer.
I mean, it's not the hardest, it's just the most unforgiving.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some platformers with terrible systems for completion, because that's something that gaming keeps doing.
Well, I mean, with 3D platformers, probably at their own tier.
Yeah. And then there are the modern platformers that also include online stuff. Well, that's more so for completionist things rather than percentages.
The armbands, what?
What? No, I said that's more so for completionist stuff rather than
You
percentages.
said something before that.
And yes, I did say something before that, but now I have completely forgotten.
I guess really you watch it and be like, oh, that. And then it turns out we could have started a 100-minute conversation on it.
Yeah, that sounds like us. Either way, because you notice, despite everything, this level is still extremely long, and it has no business being in the second tier of levels. Because this isn't even just like indicator of a huge difficulty spike. It's just hair. For some reason, they just managed to put one of the longest levels just in this. It's almost like they just threw darts or something.
Yeah, a poor progression of level difficulty is a huge problem for platformers. I mean, it would be a huge problem for me in a platformer. And I don't want to start going back to Donkey Kong Country again.
But we're already in a jungle level, so might as well.
But that game, actually, not really. I'd say Donkey Kong Country doesn't have difficulty progression. Like, it doesn't go from least difficult to the most difficult. It's definitely like each world has its own difficulty progression.
I can see that.
I mean, the later worlds are definitely harder, but
you don't feel it like building up to it.
Yeah, it's not built. I think that like each world has its own difficulty progression, and it gets a bit easier at the beginning of each world, and then ramps up. It's like the beginning of each world is probably the same, but the difficulty gets ramped up by the end of the world much more quickly.
Yeah. That being said, though, just sans the whole Lost World business, I'd have to say that, at least with Donkey Kong Country 3, because that's the one I at least remember playing the most. Because I know I enjoyed 2, but I don't remember a lot of it because I only played it like twice. Anyway, but yeah, either way, with 3, there wasn't really that much. There weren't really that much cohesive set of levels where I was like, damn, just stop with with the hurting and the danger and all the stuff that you're throwing at me. More like, oh, that was a nice level. That was a
What is
whoa.
going
Okay,
on?
hello. All right. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, that
Uh
happened.
huh. Well, I mean, walking on sunshine.
Whoa.
I don't. I think that what's the name of? I keep calling the robot
Subnautica.
world.
Oh, for a second there, you
No,
keep
I
calling
keep
it
calling
sub
the robot world K3, but I know it's not K3.
Castle
'Cause-
Chaos,
No, the
Mechanos.
Mechanos. For some reason, I keep calling it K3 because I have no idea why they'd call the Snow World K3.
I think
But
it's
yeah,
a. I'm sure it's a joke of some kind.
Mechanos is that the world definitely. I would probably say that's the set of levels that really stopped me in 3. Like how in Returns, well, the 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 cave levels, because they were all minecart levels, that one gets special mention for being ridiculous. But also Forest. Forest was just really hard. It's funny because I think Forest is usually easy in the earlier games. I know Forest is like the first or second world in 3, and in Forest is super hard in Returns, in my opinion.
Okay.
This is one of those worlds where it's nothing but platformers. I hate those.
But I thought you loved platformers.
No, I mean moving platforms over bottomless pits.
Okay. So basically, any Sky World ever.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Well, that's another thing. Just, I've barely yet to play a game which has a sky set of levels that don't just like amaze me with its visuals and also incredibly frustrate me. Just there never seems to be just like a nice, cool sky level that doesn't want to rip me apart when I'm distracted by how good it looks. Just
I'm actually trying to think of sky levels and I can't really think of many. All I can think of right now are Yoshi's Island Sky World, which is the worst. And everything in Mario 64. Oh yeah, that's also very hard. And Mario 64 is, which I have not beaten. Wing Mario in the Sky yet, or whatever it's called.
you
Eight,
know,
eight,
well,
8 red coins over the rainbow. It's just
I remember Rayman, just a little kid innocently playing Rayman, unaware that after the second world,
that's just stupid. That's just ridiculous. They expect you to jump on the boxes and land on the platform while it's moving below you.
well, jump on the boxes and body slam them exactly so you hit the platform because those are guarded boxes.
Exactly.
But yeah,
Stupid.
I remember in Rayman just like being incredibly innocent, just a little kid, I don't know, I was like 9. And then, sure, the game was a bit tougher than I thought. Just I had to keep me on the toes, nothing much. Unbeknownst to me, there's a huge difficulty spike, like an enormous one, as soon as you get to the second level. Second zone or world or whatever. Just enormous difficulty spike. Like, I don't even know what they were thinking. And then I get through that hard level. I was just like, okay, clearly that was just like, oh, we're messing with you now. But then it turns out that the place slowly starts going up into the sky. And then suddenly I'm in suspended animation over a whole bunch of very narrow platforms that are constantly moving in different ways. And certain death is always below me, and I still have to find those Electoon cages that are scattered around so cleverly and so far apart, and it is downright unfair to call this a kid's game.
Oh, which Rayman was this?
The original.
I mean, I can't say I feel your pain because I don't play Rayman. The only Rayman I played was the one that's on every system ever.
And Origins, remember?
Oh yeah, a bit of
Yeah,
Origins.
let's not forget Mecha No Mistake, where we did Mecha a mistake, and I was very angry at the end.
You see, that's one thing. People always talk about I think it's because these worlds are rarer. Ice worlds and water worlds rightfully get the hate they deserve. But mechanical worlds, they really need to start getting hate as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Except for TikTok Clock, which is amazing.
yeah. Well,
Actually, no,
yeah.
TikTok
That's
Clock is
not well.
hard, but
I guess that is not in the traditional way.
yeah, I mean, you're going to have to be semi-broad if what you consider mechanical, or you're not going to be including much anything.
That is true, but other there was no real. Well, Rayman 2 had some mechanical levels. Rayman Origins' entire last world was filled with it, but not the first Rayman level. Though they hit you all out with nature and fun, and they hit you in the face repeatedly with no mercy whatsoever.